So I didn't realize that my mic wasn't working, but we're going to do a little beekeeping today and adding Apiguard as well as feeding. Getting ready to go into the winter time. We did a mite wash last weekend. We just took one sample out of one hive and it was 13 mites out of 300 bees. So we're going to put some Apiguard on. And we're also going to feed. And with Apiguard, you can feed while you are treating. You'll also notice on some of my hives, I do have supers for collection there. And most of it is just to give the bees some extra room and extra storage for the winter time. So we will not be making a harvest from this honey. They are bringing in some nectar, so I don't expect them to feed very much on the I have some leftover 1-to-1 and made up some 2-to-1 today. So the mite load was a little heavier than I anticipated, but it's pretty much expected this time of year. Your mite load goes up in the fall, so it's real important this time of year to treat. So we're going to treat with Apiguard at this time, and then probably come back, do a mite wash around the end of October and probably hit it with some oxalic acid in the winter time. Bees are real strong. They were in the hive a lot. They were out foraging, but there were a lot of bees in there, and they were real calm today. I'm not sure why they were so calm. Honestly, don't know. I guess because there is a flow on, so we'll see. We also did a quick inspection through the hives just to make sure we were queen right. All of the hives that were left are queen right. We saw some young larvae. It was kind of dark in some spots because of the time of day we were out there. It was hard to see eggs, but we did see some very young larvae. And we had one hive that was backfilling into the old brood chamber with nectar, so we added a super to give them some more room to store. So we just kind of did a quick inspection through the hives, looking for eggs and larvae. We found a queen in one, actually spotted her, but we did find evidence of a queen in every hive. So we're going strong with 5 colonies left. I like the way Deirdre put it. She said that they were not abscons and dead outs. They were just unsuccessful splits, because we made these splits early in the year and kind of nursed them through the summertime. So I like Deirdre's optimistic attitude. It's nice having somebody younger and newer than me. And she called me an expert, and I laughed. I was like, I am far from being an expert in beekeeping, honey. But we had a good time. Her mom was out there. She got to sit kind of in the shade so she could watch her daughter work. And she's home visiting from Nevada. And we just had a good time in the bees that day. So it was a lot of fun. It wasn't as hot. We had a nice breeze blowing. We decided to go in with jackets instead of full suits. And like I said, the bees were actually pretty calm. We're about to go into the hive that we put Greg's Pepto-Bismol pink queen in, and it's really, really flourishing. There was quite a few bees in there. I want to say this was one of them that was actually backfilling, but we were trying the little tanging to get the bees out of the feeder, and so it was kind of funny watching the bees come out of the feeder. I wish I'd gotten a close-up of it, but the tanging actually does work. I don't know the science behind it, but it does work. The bees started following the noise and coming out. Here's a nice shot of the brood pattern. It kind of looks spotty in places, but that's actually where they were, the queen had larvae in there. And then the other side was fully capped honey. I was letting Deirdre, trying to get her mom's attention so she could see her daughter actually pulling frames and inspecting. It's so much fun to watch her work them, and she's really learned quite a lot in just the past few months. I forgot to bring shims out to place on the boxes above where I put the Apiguard. So I just took the foil off of the top of the Apiguard, scooped it out, put it on the foil, laid it on the brood box. That's Didra putting Swiffer sheets in for hive beetles. We didn't see a whole lot of hive beetles. And yes, we're adding a super simply because these bees were just filling every cell they could find with nectar and pollen and making bee bread. It was all in those brood frames. So we opted just to give them an extra little bit of room so the queen could get up there and lay. And so, like I said, that's not a honey super. That's actually going to be an additional brood chamber. And hopefully they'll have some room because they're just really exploding. You know, when I went into the hives last weekend and the weekend before, and we found those dead outs with wax moths in them, I kind of got down in the dumps, and you know, you just get kind of discouraged. But Didra kind of helped me face reality, and her optimism today just really, really helped. I realized that you kind of have to set yourself at limits. And when you realize that you may be going too fast, too quickly, growing too big too quickly, you got to put everything back in a perspective and maybe scale back a little bit. So I had a lot of fun working the bees today. The weather was nice. The bees were calm. It was fun again. And I didn't let losing those 2 colonies get me down. I just realized it was maybe God's way of just saying, hey, slow down a little bit. You're trying too hard. So just remember to put things in a perspective. So as we were adding the treatments and putting everything back together, these girls were collecting so much nectar we opted not to feed them. We got into this colony and we had to take kind of everything apart because the baseboard was sitting lopsided on the blocks. So we had to level everything out. It was a real active colony. This was one of the splits that's really done well this year. And they were really bringing in some nectar too. But we're going to go ahead and feed these since they're a young colony and get some treatments on and hopefully get them through the winter. So I realized we were adding 2-to-1 syrup to these feeders, and these feeders have floats in the bottom that are supposed to keep the bees from drowning. And we realized the viscosity of the 2-to-1 syrup was so thick that the floaters were not coming up to the top. So we broke up some sticks and put them in there to act as little floats for the bees so they wouldn't drown. So Deirdre had found a queen cup and she is looking to see if there's an egg in it. And she thought she saw an egg, so I said, well, let me look. And there was not an egg. It was just a reflection off the bottom. So it was a practice cell. Sometimes it's nice to see things through a new beekeeper's eyes, because she came up with the idea, since the Swiffer started blowing off of the hives beforehand, to take some of the Apiguard and smear on the frames or on the Swiffer, and it helped hold them down on the frames so the wind wouldn't blow them away. So, ingenuity. We also opted not to feed these girls because they were bringing in so much nectar as well. This hive itself, we scaled down earlier in the season because it was so big, and I want to say we collected about 75 pounds, maybe even 100 pounds just off of this one colony in the spring. Yeah, we've got our own water source. The girls have their own little pool right there. And Deirdre noticed that the water was dry, or the pool was dry. We hadn't had rain in quite some time, so she wanted to go ahead and fill up the baby pool so the bees would have some water. like I said, it's really nice having someone younger and more able to lift heavy boxes and stuff. And she's been a really big help this season. Thanks for watching, guys. There's my friend Dee Dee. She enjoyed going out there and watching us. And Ginger's got to say bye. Thanks for watching.